So SEO is challenging because nobody knows the exact recipe, right? Nobody knows how to rank, how Google ranks sites. And many theorize that even the people in Google, there's no one person that knows this. Even Oracle, the big database company, many years ago, this is probably more than a decade ago, Larry Ellison, the founder of Oracle, said that he could take his top 3 guys and collectively, collectively, all 3 of those guys put together wouldn't be able to describe all the functions and features of the database. So I'd imagine Google is the same way. They've got so many great minds thinking about this and organizing it and structuring it and crawling the web and parsing it and et cetera, that no one guy knows it. And in fact, they probably couldn't even document exactly how it works. And even years ago, they admitted they have 200 different signals for figuring out where a site should rank. And a signal could be an inbound link. It could be how long a user stays on your site. It could be the text that's in your title tag, the length of your page. All those things are ranking signals. So as SEOs, we discern what we feel are the most important signals, and then we focus on those. But it's tough. So it's interesting too, because Google has all these server farms out there, and they're constantly rolling out updates. They make updates once or twice a day even. And what they'll do is they'll roll it out to a subset of the web or their server farm, and they'll see how users interact with it and see if they're getting more clicks on the top results, or if people are having to hunt a little bit more or requery. And on top of those daily updates, there are also several major updates that happen each year. It might be 1, it might be 3 or 4. But yeah, they make these major updates that can affect maybe 20% of all search results. And so you'll hear in the forums people complaining about, hey, there's a major Google update. All of my sites are down. And that's just what happens when they tweak the algorithms. So you'll hear words like Google Panda or Penguin or Hummingbird or Mobile Apocalypse or Phantom. All these things are terms that we've given, or maybe Google has given, to these updates, and their stated goal is to improve search results, right? They want to give the end user the data that they're looking for as fast as they can. But we kind of attach a name to them so that we can sort out what those changes are and then address how that impacts our SEO tactics, right? So say Hummingbird was a re-architecture of the core algorithm behind Google to make things more topical. And so now we know we need to make things more topical, right? We can't just keyword stuff. We have to actually put some content on there and make sure things are siloed well, etc. So for those of us who are in this industry, we have to keep on top of what these SEO changes are, so that we can make those changes to our clients and then make safe recommendations, right? Because we want to future-proof our SEO as well. And starting around 2012, Google made changes where they started penalizing people in a major way. And they were doing this algorithmically in addition to all the manual reviews. So Google algorithms will rank a site based on the competition for that given search term. But now at this point, they'll also say, hey, look, your site has SEO that we consider to be bad. We're going to penalize you. And we're either going to penalize you by knocking you down when someone searches for a particular term, or we're just going to penalize your entire site. So now they do this algorithmically, which means SEO or negative SEO is a viable concern, or it's a realistic concern. They never really talked about this. They've admitted that it's possible, but not likely. Unfortunately, I've got some firsthand experience. So when all this started happening, I actually ran some tests, and I took a couple of random keywords, such as Houston florist, or I don't remember what they are. There were four different keywords that I picked, random local SEO terms, and I did some negative SEO for those terms to see what would happen. And I got between 6 out of 10 and 9 out of 10 off of the first page doing negative SEO. And I didn't even try hard to do the negative SEO. I was just over optimizing to see if I could push these guys off. So what that means is, the bottom line is, negative SEO is a concern. And if you're not a big brand, right, if you're not established like Coke or Ford or a huge company, then if somebody, your competition, for example, negative SEOs you, then you're going to drop in the SERPs and there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah. So, there are a couple of attempted workaround things you can do when you're attacked with negative SEO, but the bottom line is you're almost certainly going to have to get a new site. So unfortunately, Google doesn't care as much. They would rather penalize people than to prevent the algorithm from penalizing people. So yeah, it's just something we have to live with. It's cost of doing business. So the first thing you need to do when you build a website is you need to know who the audience is, who you're trying to talk to. And the most important part of that, as far as SEO is concerned, is what are the keywords? So for example, if you have a website on dieting, an important keyword would be Atkins diet, right? Because that way anybody searching for Atkins diet would come to your website for tips and tricks and whatever else. But you have to realize that even though Atkins diet may have a lot of search traffic, being number one for that term may not get you the type of traffic that you want. So you may be getting a lot of visitors, but they're not people who are going to buy your affiliate product or your ebook or your whatever, your recipes. So know that some keywords are what are called buying keywords. So instead of just being Atkins diet, which has a lot of traffic, you may want to niche down another step and be Atkins diet ebook, Atkins diet products, Atkins diet whatever recipes, right? And then that way, those guys, are specifically targeted and they want to buy something and not just general audience. So as you go into this, take a step back and logically think through it. What are those target keywords and what type of traffic are you going to get? And of course, is it worth it? Make sense? So really, fundamentally, this is the most important step. And ironically, it's a step that most people skip. They want a website on some random affiliate product, but they don't step back to realize that even if they rank for whatever keyword they're going for, that it's not sufficient traffic, not sufficient volume, or not a buying audience. So there are a myriad of tools out there to help you with keywords, right? And to find good ones, to find those with enough traffic, and to even give you suggestions about related keywords that you may not even be aware of. You can just Google and you'll find these guys left and right, but I listed right here 3 of them that should help you get started. And of course, they're free, so that's always good. Google AdWords Keyword Planner. This is the one that just about everybody talks about and recommends. Essentially, you type in your keywords and it tells you what search traffic is going to be for those keywords, and it does a really good job at recommending keywords as well. So if I type in whatever Dallas flowers, it'll come up with florist or floral display, or something like that. Bing Advertising Intelligence, similar, obviously the Bing and Google, they have these tools to help you spend more money with them, but you can also use it to optimize your website, right? So you can see what people are looking for and then target your content for what people are looking for. And last is just a third-party tool, Word Tracker, free basic keyword demand. Just shows some keyword metrics, and they have a free account if you just want to get in and start using that. So this is an example of the Google Keyword Planner. And if you look over here, these are the keywords that are typed in, and here are all these suggestions, right, or related keywords. And these are all different things, right, in quotes or in brackets, and it shows competition. Now this is AdWords competition. This is not how competitive the keyword is. But if you look, here are the monthly searches globally and locally. So quite a difference, right? And then CPC is if you were to buy ads, this is how much they would cost. So here's something important that I missed in the first website I did. I found a very high not very high volume, maybe 100,000 volume search term, but I have broad checked, and broad is basically Google plugs in their own words that are related to it to come up with a match. So in this case, broad could be everything here all together, if Google determines that that would be a broad, like a broad interpretation of the keyword that you're doing. So you want to make sure it's exact, and you want to make sure it's local as well, right? So I'm in the US, and so local would be here as well. I don't want any Japanese or Hindi or any other languages mixed in, because that's not my site, right? My site is geared towards the US audience. So again, make sure to check broad and make sure you're looking at your monthly searches. So as you embark on your SEO journey, you get your keywords dialed in, you optimize your site content, and everything is rolling. So you just have to remember to follow best practice with SEO. It's got inherent dangers and risks of Google penalty, but it's also got that upside of free traffic, right? Once it's done, it's basically on autopilot. So the scary thing is there are a lot of vendors out there in the various SEO forums and marketing forums that talk a good talk, and they even have their buddies go on their threads in those forums, and they talk them up as well. But the reality is, most of these guys either don't know what they're doing, or what they're doing will get you penalized eventually. And because I'm a tool vendor and not an SEO guy, I can say this: there's no real conflict of interest, right? But a lot of these guys use my tools and they use them incorrectly. But anybody new coming in, you hear, hey, 1,000 backlinks to your site with your money keywords, we're going to rank you overnight or in a week or whatever. Those guys are going to get you killed. So just remember, be careful. Be careful out there. And you need to make sure you know your target, right? You need to get those money keywords, and those probably are going to be a little more competitive than the non-money keywords, because other SEOs are going to be going after them as well. The safest thing I can suggest is to make sure that your on-page optimization is dialed in. You have your keywords in there, but not too much. You have 8, 10, 12 pages of content on there or more, right? If it's an active blog, you get your about pages, contact us. You get all of your on-page stuff perfect, because that really has no risk, right? Google won't penalize you for doing on-page optimization. Next, another safe thing to do is work on your quality metrics, right? If you have better content, if your site is more aesthetically appealing, you're going to get more social engagement. You're going to get more clicks. Your visitors are going to stay longer. And Google notices that, and you'll go up in the rankings because of it. Next, I would suggest setting up rank tracking, right? Because all this stuff is great. Get your links indexed and build 1,000 backlinks, and your Alexa score is going up, yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, ultimately, your rank is what determines how much traffic you get. And so you need to track your ranking so that you can learn exactly what SEO tactics you're using work and what don't work. And if you're trying a new tactic, I really suggest that you test it on a site that you don't care about first, right? That way, if something bad happens, it's not to your real site, it's to a site you don't care about. Lastly, if you check here, I've got a post up there, visitmetrics.com/SEO resources, where I talk about some of these tools and some other tools. And I'll try to keep that current so that it follows latest best practice. Best practice hasn't actually changed that much in the past year or two, just because after all the Panda and Penguin, the smart SEOs took a step back and realized, hey, look, if you're going to do it safely and you want it to stick, then you need to make it more real, and here's how you make it real. So just visit that link right there, and you're going to find out good stuff. And last but not least, build links. So when I started up here at the beginning of this course, SEO is link building. That's what most people think. What I'm suggesting to you is you build links last. Take care of everything else first, the low risk stuff first. Finally, lastly, you build links. And that's where the meat of it comes in, right? And so links are what will get you ranked most effectively, especially if they're good links. But yeah, let's do that last because I don't want you to get penalized. So to talk about site structure a little bit, as you can see, here is a site hierarchy or a silo hierarchy that I just snagged from some random place online that just exemplifies what I'm talking about. So you have a site on potty training. You have silo for boys, silo for girls, and then products. And as you see, everything inside links to each other, and then the silos all link to each other as well. So this is proper internal linking structure, which helps the link power, or it helps spread around the link power all throughout your website and not just isolated on the homepage. So this is really important so that these internal links, such as product number 2 or boys content page number 3, so that those rank by themselves, right? So the more pages you have in Google and the better link juice that flows to them, the higher they'll rank by themselves. So this is a good linking structure to use for most every website. A straight up blog, not as much. You don't need it, but if you have any type of products or you want to focus on anything specific, you should definitely use this type of site structure. So in building a website that's SEO friendly, here are some common sense guidelines. Of course, there are way more, but this should get you 80-90% of the way there. You definitely need boilerplate pages. Google expects these. So about us, contact us, privacy policy, terms and conditions, that type of stuff. A good homepage that's not overflowing with ads because they don't like that. Unique content on your site as well. So I would say at least 8 to 10, 500 to 1,500 word articles, right? That's a lot. But if you're becoming an expert on a topic, if you're trying to be an expert on a topic, you need a lot. So it's really not that much. You can outsource this. You don't want it to be spun garbage, so you need to make sure that it's halfway decent. Otherwise, of course, Google will ignore it. And that's not something you want. And you want your users to stick around as well. You need to give them value. And while each of these articles should be on a topic, such as whatever real estate rate or mortgage rates or buying and selling real estate, you don't want to keyword stuff. So put your keywords in there, but not too much. And really, at this point, everything that I do is just naturally written. I just want to make sure that the article title has my keyword in it, and it may be mentioned once or twice in the article. But otherwise, just let the writers do their thing, or you do your thing, and Google will sort it out. Another thing that's really important is your product pages need to have content. So I can't say this enough. A lot of people send in questions about why their link isn't indexing, why it's not showing up in Google. And the reality is it's an empty product page. It may have specs like height, weight, whatever, color, and a one-line description of what the product is. Well, guess what? That's no content for Google to grab onto. So therefore, your product's not going to show up in people's search. So make sure to have a good description, at least a paragraph, maybe 2 or more of what your product is. Otherwise, your site's going to appear thin, and Google doesn't like that. If possible, include your address and contact info. This could be in the header or the footer, definitely on the contact page, and everything needs to match, right? Your Google Plus settings should match your website settings, and any social accounts that you make, or Yelp accounts, or Yellow Pages, or anything else, everything needs to link together and use the same address and phone number and even username. That helps Google measure your authority and the accuracy of the information. So if it sees your phone number is the same everywhere, it knows that's probably your phone number, and you get a boost for it. So these last 4 items here really are geeky items, and you may not realize what you're doing or if you're making any missteps. So get your favorite computer geek to check these out for you if you're not familiar with them. A big no-no for Google is duplicate content issues. So it's kind of hard to describe, but if you look at a URL of a product, it'll have some question marks like product ID equals 123 and category equals ABC. But it's possible that same exact page looks the same if the URL were flipped. So category equals ABC and product ID equals 123. So to Google, those are 2 different pages because the URL is different. But if both of those pages shows the exact same content, then Google has to guess which one the right one is. Or it may get it wrong, or it may just not even show you at all, just because it's not sure what the content is, and it's splitting your link love. And even inside your site, if you're linking to categories or silos or whatever, you need to be sure to be consistent with how you link. That way everything flows correctly, and all the link juice flows to where it needs to go. So that whole thing is called canonicalization, if you want to Google that or search that. So canonicalization is, you just need to make sure everything is pointed to one place for a given piece of content. And there are tools out there to help you with this. But again, it's kind of geeky, and it's hard to figure out if you don't know what you're looking for. Next is mobile-friendly design. I touched on this before. It's now an important ranking signal for Google. They want a large portion of their traffic is now mobile, and so they want all the websites to be mobile-friendly. Simple, easy enough. No broken links. Same thing. It's relatively easy to figure out. There are third-party tools out there that do it. You can install Google Webmaster Tools, and it'll tell you if you have any broken links. But the gist is you want your site to work. And geeky stuff, robots.txt is instructions to any crawler, any search engine that comes to your site of what needs to be looked at and ignored. So you need to make sure that's good. And then meta tags, alt tags, etc. All the stuff that's behind the scenes that needs to be correct, or at least not ignored or not done incorrectly. So lots to take on here, but that's a good summary of what you can touch and take care of easily. That'll get you some good impact. As far as quality metrics are concerned, Google just wants to see that everybody that goes to your site finds what they're looking for and sticks around, right? They don't want you to see them bouncing, and bounce is just when they come to your site and leave really fast. So time on site, how long they spend on your site, time on a particular page, right? If they're looking for, whatever, Adkins recipe, and someone stays on the site for 5 minutes, well, Google likes that. But if they stay on that page for 5 seconds, well, that's probably not a good result to return, for that particular search. Bounce rate's another big one. If it's 30%, hey, maybe that's about average. If it's 80%, well, then you may need to put better content out there. So there's a service out there that I've used in the past that I can recommend that actually helps you control all of these site metrics, the quality metrics. And it's kind of like using vanilla in a recipe. All you need is a little drop or two. So pop over to that URL, visit metrics.com/SEO resources, and I've got a link to the SEO quality metrics. Essentially what you do with it is you add your website, and then you add what you want to show up for in the search engines, and it will go through and search Google for your site, and then click on that link at Google, and then stay on your site for a while, like an actual user. So I definitely suggest you don't turn it up high, right? Because if you're getting 10 users a day and all of a sudden now you get another 10, it's going to look a little bit kind of fishy to Google. So you need to turn it up low and slow, just like link building. So yeah, highly recommend it. It's something that not a lot of people are doing, but you can see fantastic results from it.